All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Energy Awareness Commission meeting on Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. It's a little after 5 p.m., so go ahead and call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is a public notice to conduct a meeting via teleconference. So I guess we'll be looking for a motion to receive and order filed this notice.
I'll move it. Tom.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and second to receive and order filed the public notice stating that the Energy Awareness Commission will conduct its meeting via teleconference, prudent to the authority of Minnesota statute due to circumstances of the coronavirus. And I believe since we have Kim online that we would need to take a roll call vote.
She is.
Yep. Okay. So, alrighty. So, Derek, do you want to do roll call or? What's easiest?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Tom Henderson,
Here.
Gary Wilczek, Here. Kim Rockman,
Here.
Brody Veit.
Here. All right, so motion approved then. Second item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the May 11th Energy Awareness Commission. Give you a moment for people to look that over. Are there any questions, comments, additions, changes, that type of stuff?
Make another motion. I did read them all already, so I'd
Okay.
be ready to make a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the March 2021 meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve the March 2021 meeting minutes for the Energy Awareness Commission. Derek, do you remember, do we need to do roll call for vote on each one then?
I believe we do.
We do? Okay,
think so.
so, all right, I can go through that then. Gary,
Yes.
Kim,
Here.
Mr. Henderson,
Tom?
Tom,
Yes.
thank you. Yes, all approved. Second thing on the agenda then is the staff report for Energy Awareness Commission.
Okay. So there's like every month or every meeting, there's some balance sheets attached for the previous 2 months. And then I also added on to the overview of the agenda item, kind of an activity report that I actually put on the Public Utilities Commission monthly meeting, just kind of a summary. So we had some monthly activity for March where we rebated just over 21 or just under $22,000. And in April, we rebated $12,459. We had a $7,500 rebate that was given to State Street Theater, who took advantage of our new district energy steam rebate that I think we talked about a few meetings ago that we adjusted, which the $7,500 is the max amount that you can give for that rebate. So they did a lot of internal work there. And actually part of what they've done, what they did is going to be in our next upcoming newsletter. And then we just have the summary of the April and March rebates from which rebates were given to customers and how many. Are there any particular questions on any of the actual accounts or the overview?
So how do you feel like rebates are kind of generally where they are at this point of the year, or seen any major changes with everything going on?
They really haven't slowed down much. I mean, you look at this past year, what was kind of left over was kind of a typical possibility from year to year. It always kind of varies. I think, as Jordy at least will remember, being here the longest, we've had an overall remaining balance of a couple $1,000s to $20,000. It kind of comes into play if the industrial and commercial customers are sending in those rebates or not on the overall balance. So where we're at now is pretty consistent to where we could be. So I don't think the pandemic played an effect into these as much as I thought it would, but a little bit.
So when we see the 40,000 for industrial rebate, they just not done it yet, or haven't started? Don't want it?
So that's just one of the industrial rebates. So last year, one industrial customer got a $31,000 rebate. So they could come in just like that. Though that particular rebate is for custom rebates, we don't have an actual form for with actual pre-calculations. It also is, that's actually pretty much what it's for. And then there's also motors and variable frequency drives kind of fall underneath that too. So it's kind of when they and if they're going to get those replaced on any given year. So last year, a commercial customer replaced 5 motors, and I think they replaced or installed brand new VFDs in a total of like 8.
It's like a first come, first serve on the 40,000 then?
Yeah, and something to keep in mind with all these accounts, there's certain accounts that I will not allow to go over. And there's others that I will allow to go over. And the reason for that is I just don't want to go over the overall budget. But the particular rebates that I'm not allowing to go over are more likely to do that they are gas rebates. And the percentage of this total amount we started with $262,000. Out of that total amount, the gas accounts total for about $30,000 to $35,000. So if I'm going over on all the gas like we have in past years, we will not have a chance whatsoever to meet state statutes of the electrical savings. So, and it gets hard to turn people away when just because, let's say, residential lighting, we're over on that, and all of a sudden we get more and we get more and we get more. I can't foresee, I can't look into the future and say, well, these people are going to submit a bunch of rebates and I can get more savings that way, because you don't know unless people call and talk to me.
Or when you hit the 40,000 on this, you're likely to want to stop it because it could just chew up a lot of the rest of it if it was allowed to go.
Not necessarily. It depends what the overall budget is.
Okay.
A lot of these they're kind of almost for accounting purposes and to know where the money's going also, which programs are being more active.
Budget isn't all that relevant except for the total.
For the most part, you're correct, yeah.
Got to stay within that.
But there's a handful of accounts that we have to try to really stay under that.
Okay. Mostly big ones.
Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the financial statement.
I move to accept financial statement.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I guess I'll do it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the financial statements. We'll take roll call again. Tom?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Kim? Jordy? Yes. Approved. Motion carries. Old business then. Minnesota GreenStep's staff report to the Energy Awareness Commission.
So this agenda item is just to notify you, which you probably already know, that on April 6th of this year, the City Council approved the resolution number 2021-32, adopting the Volunteer Challenge Assistance and Recognition Program of the Minnesota GreenStep cities. So since the adoption of the program, Staff has done the necessary paperwork and documents and submitted them to the GreenStep City's overseeing body to officially become a member. So that first step was to have the city council adopt a resolution, and they did. So I submitted that information, and New Ulm is on their website, and we can start, working on everything now. So this is just a notification to the Energy Awareness Commission that that is done, and attached is the resolution, the signed resolution for your viewing.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Was there much discussion? I seem to remember watching that city council meeting. There wasn't a lot.
I don't know. I talked for 30 minutes, but I gave
I mean,
that PowerPoint presentation.
the discussion back.
Right.
There's no opposition.
No, it was unanimously approved.
That's good.
Yep.
Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, be looking for a motion to receive and order filed the information on Minnesota GreenStep cities.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Anybody want a second? Okay, I think Kim seconded. Tom,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Jordy, yes. Motion approved. Second item, as far as Green Step Cities then, is talking about the best practices 1 through 4. Derek?
Yeah, so I labeled this best practice number 1. It's actually 1-4. I wasn't sure how to label these. So there's all these best practices, and then within the best practice, and there is, attached to agenda is that whole list, which I've given out in the past. So there's the numerous best practices, and underneath of those, there's, in this case, best practice 1, 4 would be implement information technology efforts and city employee engagement to reduce plug loads, building energy use, and workflow efficiency. So that's what that numbering system I tried to use was. And what that is the city of St. Paul, in the overview, did this exact action. And I believe it was a 3-star action or credit that they received. So they installed it's called the vending miser, and they equipped it with an occupancy sensor and a temperature monitor. These two components work together to lower energy consumption while ensuring that the products stay cold and the machine stays on when occupants are in the surrounding area. To elaborate, when the surrounding area is unoccupied for 15 minutes, the vending miser will turn off the machine for 1 to 3 hours. It will turn on if someone enters the area or if the products need to be cooled. The city of St. Paul therefore saved over $3,000 by participating in the bulk purchasing program. At the discounted price, the vending misers achieved a payback of just over 16 months. So if you didn't get what these things are by that summary of what they did, they get plugged into vending machines, which is why they're called the vending. And we have 3 of these that have never been used. I saw these when I first started. I mean, they obviously were purchased for that reason, but they were never used. So we can do a little bit of a test pilot on a few machines that the public utility owns, along with maybe possibly a watts calculator to figure out, maybe some changes in what the watts being drawn is and things like that. So that was my idea of kind of a first action, just because it was something I kind of stumbled upon. And then going forward, we probably should discuss how we want to proceed on picking best practices as well. Some things I did and do know of that we qualify for, and I just need to get that information, would be that the City of New Ulm is a Tree City USA member through the Arbor Day Foundation, and that is actually best practice number 16-1. Additionally, the Tree Advisory Committee has adopted an emerald ash borer management plan. That is also a best practice. That is number 16C. And as I said, staff began the process of inputting data into B3 benchmarking database. This is best practice number 1-1. Many buildings owned by the city I've put into that already. So we have a lot of information in there. There's a handful that are fully complete. So it's just catching up and getting the rest of those buildings up to date. And then lastly, the public library completed lighting project. So as soon as I get that data, I can submit that also. So there's some items that we know we've done, and I can submit that type of information to them. I don't know what your thoughts are on how you all want to proceed on picking other. Well, first off, I guess, is this vending machine thing something we want to proceed with, or do we want to skip over this for now?
I think the vending machine idea is great. As far as like how do we want to proceed, I don't know what others feel, but I think maybe like if staff would have like an idea of practices that you think is most feasible for us to look at for starting. That type of stuff. I don't know what your ideas are.
Looking for suggestions.
Yeah.
How does it work? You say you got 3 of them that you want to put in use?
Yeah, so they get the machine, the vending machine gets plugged into that, and then that gets plugged into the outlet. And
at
it
times-
has a motion sensor. So it has the device has an internal memory, and it has the capability to take a look at the temperature and to turn the machine on and off. So it will turn off if there's not any activity for so long. For 15 minutes, it will shut off for 1 to 3 hours, and I think then that will kick back in. So the items in the vending machine don't get warm. You know. So it's cutting down on the compressor going.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, it's right. And if it works out, maybe we convince other city departments to use it. So then it would be a more citywide type.
Or beyond.
Or yeah, yep. I mean, we could get the schools involved. We could get other departments.
So those devices are in use now,
No, they're not in use now.
but you have them?
I have them.
Okay.
I
And
found 2, and then I wrote this, and then I found a 3rd, so I had to change the number from 2 to 3.
you know,
And it was unopened in its package.
okay, do you know why they were never used?
They were purchased before I began. I doubt anybody even knew that we had them.
You found them.
Right.
So it's anticipated we can save energy.
Right.
Is there then a meter so we can measure that savings?
I have what's called a watts up,
Yeah, okay.
so we can play around with that to do some data collection.
Yeah. Well, I would say that's a kind of a quick and easy one. to take
Well,
advantage
I saw that and I thought it'd be, yeah, exactly, kind of quick and easy to get it kind of started, but
But now to claim credit for that, we need to submit how many kilowatt hours were saved.
I don't even know if we have to do that. I think that's just kind of an explanation of, I mean, it'd probably be nice to do that for them,
Sure.
I think approaching other units of government would be a good step. Are they expensive?
I found an old invoice and I think they were about $179
Each?
each.
Well, that would make
So,
them think twice.
I mean, if they work like they say they do, that the payback's,
Wow.
pretty quick.
Like
so.
we could monitor, try it and monitor what the possible savings are with the watts thing for a bit.
Right.
That'd be information we could use to share with, well, this is the benefits of this. So,
Well, I've never heard of that. It sounds like a good idea, but are we sure that that won't accelerate the stress on the compressor by cycling the compressor on and off when no one is in the area, you know?
I haven't read that at all.
Yeah.
And I guess the last thing would be to, we don't own the machine, so I would probably need to contact the owner of the vending machine
Yeah.
to clarify that we can install that on.
But, you know, if St. Paul is claiming credit for this, it must be a tried and proven practice in general.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. If we can claim credit for it, even without proving how many kilowatt hours we can save,
Right.
sure.
Yep.
And I like your idea, Tom, of spreading the wealth of that good news to the other departments.
The trouble is, some of these units aren't owned by the people who are paying for the electric bills. They're owned by the company that provides the machine. So what motivation do they have to help their customers save money by putting this device on them? It would only benefit the person that has to pay the bill, which would be in this case like schools or the county or the manufacturing company in their break rooms, that sort of thing.
Right.
So the companies that provide these machines really wouldn't care.
I wouldn't see why they would care.
Doesn't matter. It's only
Right.
the people that where it's plugged in that it matters to.
Correct.
On your other topic there of 1-1, there too, we can take credit for that action just by entering the benchmarking database, routinely entering monthly usage data, I think you had
Yep.
talked about.
Well, it's a needed action. We have to do that.
So we can claim credit even if we haven't saved any energy. It's just that we're routinely entering monthly usage data.
Yep. Correct.
Is that right? And we already are doing that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to report that to them.
So we're just claiming credit for something we've already done and are continuing to do.
Right.
Do you know, are we saving energy by using different fluorescent bulbs in that?
We are, but I haven't. I'm just entering the data. I haven't analyzed. I'm not analyzing it yet.
Yep.
So
Will it take us to do that in order to claim that credit then for the GreenStep cities?
the software does it itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no additional calculations really.
Okay.
Software kind of tells a person, how efficient the building is. So
Sure. And then your items there on the tree issues, that's already being done also?
correct.
Yeah.
So I would need to get the information from Park and Rec Director Schmitz and report that to them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, otherwise I'd be looking for a motion to approve the implementation of the Minnesota Green Step Cities Best Practices 1 through 4.
The 1 through 4.
Or 1-4.
Or 1-4. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, said that wrong.
Yep. So moved.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the implication of the Minnesota Green Step Cities Best Practices 1-4. Tom,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Kim, Jordy, yes. Motion approved. Did you need any further guidance then, Derek, on where we want to go from here, or?
Well, do you think it would be best if the commission would decide on what practices want to be investigated rather than,
I think it'd be good to probably take a more in-depth look at that.
because if I know what, you know, the commission would
Yeah.
like to look at, then I can investigate if it's something that's been done in the past.
Going back to the vending machine idea, okay? Is that all right?
What was that?
We want to talk about the vending machine.
This is just in general. So of the best practices that are listed in there, in that whole list, which ones do we want to take a look at? I think
drilling
that's where
down.
he's asking for direction
I'm drilling down right
to
now.
go. So, yeah,
I just think that's an easy, exciting one, but
yeah.
to
How
do
do we
it,
know, how do we know which ones are feasible though?
Yeah, that was kind of my,
I mean, it's hard to choose from a list when we, when we don't know, because wouldn't it be great, not to have light pollution, but that's may not be feasible for New Ulm right now. So how do we decide, as a committee, what to choose? I guess is what I'm struggling with.
yeah. Well, I'm wondering kind of along that note, do we maybe individually, starting off individually, kind of take a look at it and see if there's things that stick out to us? And then have a list that, all of our ideas come together on a list. And then from there, Derek and other staff could maybe provide feedback of this is feasible, this isn't feasible, or this is being done, not done. I don't know, does that make sense?
we need more information. Yeah.
There's no
Well,
budget,
like,
right? Practices that would need to be things that could be implemented for free or things that have already been implemented. Is that what I understand?
I didn't catch the first part of what you,
So there's no budget for any of these best practices that we adopt. So we would need to choose things that that have no cost associated with them. Is that right? Is that correct?
Or be able to sell things on the basis of saving money.
yeah. And I mean, some stuff might be, yeah, we're probably gonna have to focus more on the free or low budget stuff. I know, Derek, do you have thoughts
Well,
on?
I guess if it's something you feel strongly in, I guess that the commission needs to be as an advocate for that. There is no budget overall for this. It's a citywide program. It's not just directly the public utilities or just the city. It's both, but it's also the community. So doing some of this work, the Energy Awareness Commission needs to be an advocate for that to get that best practice across. And I guess part of that is deciding on something, even if you think it's maybe far-fetched, and we kind of do the research and we talk to the right people. And I think that's what some other communities have done. And they go and they get backing from other community members as well to push that forward. I guess that's one way to look at it. I can try to think of something else to elaborate on that, but some things, like I think when Jason Walker was here, there's some things that, could cost the city money, but then I guess that'd be part of my job is to crunch things to say yes, but long term it will save the city money as well. So there's lots of ways you could look at each and every best practice. And some things we could already be doing, but maybe it's just going that little step further as well. then maybe this will help uncover, things like that.
So I don't know if this would be possible or if this would be useful, but maybe this would be kind of a good item to, if it'd be possible to do like a work session where we focus on and kind of go more in depth just on this. I don't know if that makes sense or if anybody would be interested or if that's even something we can do, but to give us as a commission a bit more time or something to focus in on stuff. And else do you have ideas tonight on where you want to go?
Well, I think a work session would be great. I mean, we all have busy schedules and that, but to me, I need that to work with others but just discuss some of these things. Like some of these really appeal to me, but I have no idea whether they're even feasible or whether it's going to take a budget in order to make that happen. Or if the city's already doing something
Yeah.
like that, I just don't know. So to me, a work session would be great.
I'd support that as long as, yeah, we have the information we need to do a work session.
Yeah.
What do you think, Derek? Is that
That's,
possible?
that's up to all of you. That's not up to me. So,
Well, if we do that, I would think we'd almost need Derek in attendance
Oh, yeah.
to
Yeah.
reflect off whether anything like that's feasible, like what
Yeah.
Tim is saying,
Yeah.
the feasibility of some of this.
I just don't feel like I have the knowledge base to go into a work session without leadership coming from our staff.
Yeah.
Well, any chance we could have a work session, say down in your building, where we could just borrow your time
yeah.
in a
that's-
meeting like that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and if
Yeah, because I
there's-
think like just me looking through the list too, it's like I have a hard time even just trying to pick out things to list on where to, yeah, without having more discussion and, that type of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of items.
So I guess that's the only kind of the
It
reason.
is overwhelming. Don't get me wrong.
Word I would have in mind.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I mean, knowing that something like that's coming up then would hopefully give us as individuals a little more time to kind of maybe look at it and kind of pick some things out that, well, I want more info on this or that type of
Item
thing.
by item kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Say, like in 2-2, that building permitting process and green building practices. I think that's a wise idea, but I'm ignorant of the zoning and building permitting process, and maybe that's already taken care of. Things like that. So, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, I guess, I don't know if, Derek, if that'd be something you would be dealing with or Lisa as far as trying to set something like that up?
No, I'll just set up I'll book the first. I'll see
So you
since we'd have a quorum as a
Yeah,
committee.
maybe we could do like a.
Well, I may need to, this needs to be spread out where we decide, and there's so
Yeah.
much time for public notice and
kinda
giving the
see-
public notice that there's an official, the quorum will be met, the Energy Awareness Commission meeting, it will be held at the PUC conference room, and we have, if anyone doesn't want to come to the office, we can set up Zoom there, and put it on our big screen.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of a lot of logistical stuff to get it to come
No.
together.
Yeah, I mean, it's not difficult. It's just
Yeah.
finding out the laws behind the
Fine.
meeting,
Yep.
really.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not.
So does that sound like a plan that everyone's okay with for the time being?
I'll probably send out, once I know that time frame, I'll send out a doodle poll and give 3 dates or something and
Yeah.
see what
What
works for everybody.
Do you feel a working session needs a public notice?
If we have a quorum,
Yeah.
I'm very confident that
Yep.
it needs, yeah.
Yeah. Because like the city council does them and they always have to
Yeah.
put public notice out. So
Really?
if we're gonna have a quorum, even if we're not voting on anything, we still have the quorum, we'd still have to have that public notice. So,
So people can choose to come. If they
yeah.
wish.
But I think,
No, I think it's a good idea. I think, after
Yeah.
a few of these special meetings, if it's one or two, you
yeah,
get the ball rolling, I think
I think it'll
we all
help.
got on the same, or you all get on the same mindset, it will be easier to kind of,
Yeah, yep. Definitely.
And the goal of this is really to pick some areas we really want to pursue.
yeah, I mean, I think it will come down to picking two to four, and then we kind of internally investigate to see if we've done it already, and, if we're not, then we know we can maybe roll with it. If we have, then we know it's something to get the information for and report it, and kind of,
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one Gary was mentioning before, and seems like something we'd probably want to do, but it implicates certain staff of the city immediately.
That's right.
And if they knew something we didn't, that they were not interested or were interested, that would be important because they're the ones that are going to have to do it.
Well, I think that's what we'll find out with this process.
right.
So,
If I was a couple of city staffers and knew this was coming, I think I would want to go and be there when we discuss some of these. Or is that a next step?
I think that's the next step,
Yeah.
honestly.
good. Any other questions or discussion?
Then we need a little longer list, knowing that some of our items may get nicked pretty quick.
Yeah, yep. Well, and who knows, it might too, like if all of us sit down and kind of look at it and think about it, there might be some things that very clearly like all of us kind of have on that list that would be then something that we'll spend a little bit more time trying to focus on too. So I think it'll be good to have more detailed discussion with it.
And there's a lot of examples on the GreenStep City's webpage for what
Yeah,
other
yep.
communities have done and what they did.
Yep.
Just as that City of St. Paul with the vending machines.
Like one topic I'm interested in is like 26, renewable energy. But I think that has been discussed at length locally and nationally, but I really don't know what's all happened, say in the past here, like for the community solar garden and wind energy and all that. I mean, how would we even go about tackling something like Kim said, maybe that this is way over our head, maybe just too big with zero budget, but who would know what process has already taken place, like with the community solar garden? Or is that something we shouldn't even begin to talk?
There was, before I began, there was a lot of talk about a community solar garden. They got people interested, and then it went through the final leg, and everybody backed out.
Yep.
So.
And wasn't that also the same like with the wind energy longer ago?
That was before myself as well.
Oh.
That got into some legal issues, I believe,
Yeah.
with easements, and that's kind of, I think, how that got kiboshed, put an end to.
Well, I'm just wondering now with all this national attention to the energy situation, would there be enough interest in the community to take a new look at that? it may be a little bit bold, but that's where I think if we'd have a good working session that could flush out some of this, that there may be greater areas of opportunity for some other categories. Maybe I'm tackling something way too big.
Any other comments or discussion? Okay. Derek, did you need any kind of other information from us at the moment, or?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. So then I think we'll move on to item number 5 under new business, the manufactured home special program with CERTS.
So a few weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I spoke with a representative from Clean Energy Resource Teams, and they are doing some work with manufactured homes or mobile homes. And we have 2 mobile home locations in the city limits. And I have about $3,000 that's left over from the home show that we didn't use because it was canceled again. And we have an opportunity to do kind of a program like we did with the Saving Watts and Drops for any of the commission members that weren't here when that took place. We collaborated with CERTS, Clean Energy Resource Teams, with that as well. We purchased, with that program, we purchased LED bulbs and bathroom and kitchen aerators for multifamily units in town. So we, now at the top of my head, I can't think, maybe like 6 locations possibly or so. About $5,000 to $7,000 worth of stuff, items. So we'd like to do something similar with these manufactured homes. And that would be either a bag or a box of, I believe I have 2 options here. 9-watt bulbs, some more aerators. The other option is shower head, water, obviously water efficient shower head, weather stripping, digital thermometer. So those are the 2 options that they gave us. So I'm asking to see if this is something that you think these funds would be good used for.
So does the customer get the option then with the installation?
No,
one, or-
we'll purchase one or the other.
Okay.
And more than likely, we'll be doing this again. If we end up doing this, we'll probably do it again next year with the other, because it would, unless I have funds later on in the year somehow, that's gonna come just over $3,000 actually.
Okay.
That, because both options are $18.50 for 164 kits and shipping. So that would be just, I think, like $3,064 or something. So
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
and they're all items that we can use for reporting purposes to the state, which I'm actually currently doing for last year, 2020.
So the person that owns the mobile home would install any of this
Well-
themselves?
They, I contacted them. We either will have the people that own the homes that live in those locations come pick them up at our location at the PUC, or both locations said that these bags or boxes could be stored at their kind of main location, their main trailer there. So we could post something possibly on a main bulletin board in their office or in the entryway, or as I will probably send direct letters to the customers saying that, this is being offered to you and they're located at their main office, stop at between this and this hours on these days. So,
Then they'd pick up the box, take it to their mobile home and install it themselves if they can.
yes. I did talk to a couple, and they'd be willing to help out some people, I think, if they'd have issues. But a lot of these are pretty easy installs. At least the lights and the aerators are. As long as you can get the aerator off your old sink.
Can be tough. They're crusty.
Some of them are. That's why I said if you can get them off.
You have any idea which one you're going to go with, or?
That first option seems a little more easier for somebody to deal with rather than.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If they're going to be doing it on their own, the first option would probably be the much better one.
Well, I'll do either, whatever option you think.
Trying to see which one is easier for the average person to just take the box and put the stuff in. And it seems like the first one would be.
Yeah. Any other questions or discussion? Otherwise, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the collaboration with CERTS on the manufactured home program. Kim, I think you were talking. I didn't hear you again.
Oh, I'll make a motion
Okay.
to approve the collaboration with CERTS.
Okay. So we have a motion.
Second?
Okay. We have a motion and second to approve the collaboration with CERTS on manufactured home program. Tom,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Kim, Jordy, yes, motion approved. So Derek, you want us to specify which one, or?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that'd be best.
Okay. I guess I'm for the first one. It sounded like, yeah. I don't know how others feel. Kim, do you have a preference on which one of those two options, the first or the second one?
I think the first one would be easier to install.
Yeah.
Do you need a
So-
motion, or is that good to just let you know that?
To make a motion.
Okay.
Do that then.
So we have a motion to recommend the first option for the manufactured home program. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second. Tom,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Kim, Jordy, yes, so motion approved. Right. Next item on the agenda then is commissioner comments. I don't know if anybody has any, but our next regular meeting would be Tuesday, July 13th. And then we'll be looking for information on a work session type thing later on as that comes together. Any other comments or questions from anybody?
Not available that date? I'd be missing.
Okay.
And the work session, hopefully, that could take place between this meeting and our next meeting?
It could.
Yeah.
Or
Good.
after?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll see how soon,
Sure.
figure out the detail of the meeting laws, and then from there, we'll know for sure.
Sure, okay.
Cool.
Or would another option be if, just with the busy summer schedules and so on, that if we just divide and conquer and just maybe meet individually with Derek? Or a couple?
Yeah, I'm fine with that if we're allowed to do that. I don't know what
Then it
the,
wouldn't be a quorum.
so,
Wouldn't be a quorum, so it wouldn't matter.
yeah, yep,
Well, I'm just thinking of the summer
Yeah.
schedule.
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah. I guess whatever works and whatever Derek thinks works best. Whatever works. I'm open to whatever.
I'll
so.
work, how about I work on getting the meeting room set up, and if people want to meet with me individually or as a group, you can do that as well.
Well,
Prefer the group if it can be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, yep.
yeah, let's try a group meeting, and if
Yep.
we can't agree to a particular date, then,
Yeah, if schedules become an issue or something.
yeah.
Yep, good thoughts. Any other questions or discussion? All right. I guess with that said, then we will adjourn the meeting.